Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. A racial attack in Virginia and possible obstruction of justice. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Last night we reported that two journalists working for the Virginian Pilot newspaper were assaulted in Norfolk by a group of black men. Crime took place on April 14th, shortly after 11 p.m. 26-year-old Marjan Rostami and 31-year-old David Forster were riding in a Chevy Cavalier when they stopped at a light. Apparently, someone threw a rock at their car, whereupon Ms. Forster got out of the car to confront the assailant. He was set upon and beaten. Ms. Rostami called 911, and then she was beaten by the men. The factor has obtained the police report of the incident, where a hate crime box is checked off. But police now say that was a clerical error. We asked the police for the 911 tape. Late today, they told us they would decide tomorrow whether to release it to us. We certainly hope they do. The folks have a right to know what happened. Today, Norfolk police arrested a 16-year-old in the case, but we don't know much about him. We do know that the couple had to get medical attention and missed a full week of work at the newspaper. But incredibly, the Virginian Pilot didn't cover the story until 2 weeks later. Editor Dennis Finney saying the paper thought it was a simple assault and they don't cover that kind of crime. The Factor does not believe Mr. Finley. He had to know that two of his employees were attacked by a mob. We believe Finley avoided covering the story because of its racial component. The paper simply tried to cover it up. Now consider what would have happened if the mob of white men descended on a car and beat up a black man and a black woman. I don't have to say any more. You know what would happen. So why is this case any different? Why isn't it getting national coverage? Why isn't the Justice Department on the scene with a federal presence? Those questions remain unanswered tonight. In America, we're supposed to have equal justice for all, and there are many laws that protect minorities, as there should be. But a bias crime is a bias crime no matter what skin color is involved. These two reporters are just sitting at a light on the way back from the theater when all hell broke loose.
The first punch was like square right in the nose, just absorbing the blows and being like, okay, I'm all right, I can get back inside. But yeah, there was definitely a moment where, you know, when I'm surrounded and getting punched, that I'm thinking this is getting really bad.
In the neighborhood where the attack took place, some folks weren't surprised.
You by yourself, or if you're not from around here or you don't know anybody around here, you're a target automatically.
And then with all that Trayvon Martin stuff going on, a lot of dumb stuff is happening. People are reacting on different races for dumb stuff, you know. So, you know, it could be related to that, or it could be people just want to act stupid.
So let's recap. Looks like a cover-up by the Virginian Pilot newspaper. Looks like the Norfolk police are confused. Was it a hate crime or not? The Justice Department has so far ignored our request for comments, but Attorney General Holder has a responsibility to look into the situation, and we will hold Holder to that. This is a major story. We cannot have Americans of any color being set upon by violent mobs. That cannot stand in this country. The Factor will continue to demand justice in Virginia. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight reaction. With us here in the studio, Tavis Smiley, co-author of the best-selling book, The Rich and the Rest of Us, A Poverty Manifesto. So what do you think about this?
I think it's a tragic moment. I think that you're right about the fact that we don't want any of our fellow citizens, never mind race, color, or creed, to be subject to this kind of random violence. I think having said that, though, as I listened to the story, I didn't know it as well as you do, obviously, but listening to the piece now, there are a number of similarities to what happened to the Trayvon Martin case. One, you have the issue of race, obviously. Number two, you have a police department that bungled the investigation. Number three, in Trayvon Martin's case, the media, the mainstream media, took a long time to get on that story. Were it not for the black media, they would never have covered it. And now you raise questions about the cover up in this story. These cases aren't as dissimilar, perhaps, except for the fact there's a child involved. And it says something about our nation when we have children put upon the way Trayvon Martin was, number one. And number two, Trayvon Martin is dead. I have great empathy and sympathy for their situation. I would not want to be there again. It's unacceptable. We don't want fellow citizens being treated that way. But Trayvon Martin is dead, Bill. Is there
a difference between a white mob setting upon minorities? It doesn't have to be African American. Could be Hispanics. Could be American Indians. Anything. And a minority, again, could be any minority, setting upon white people? Or is it the same?
I think it's unacceptable.
No, but is it the same, or is there a different circumstance involved?
Well, first of all, it'd be a case-by-case situation, number one. But across the board, I don't see the difference.
Okay, so I don't see the difference either, because if two black citizens in Norfolk, Virginia, stopped at a light on the way back from a play,
that's right,
and 30 white guys surrounded and dragged them out, you know the Virginia pilot's going to cover it, or are they not?
I can't speak for the paper. And
no, but you know they were.
Well, I don't know that.
You don't think they would cover that story?
I don't know that. I don't know that they would. And here's my point. Trayvon Martin's case took weeks. It took weeks for the story to get covered by the mainstream media, although inside of Black America, it was being discussed every day.
I don't know
That's my point.
Okay, all right.
Now, look, and then it took 46 days to get a charge leveled against Mr. Zimmerman. So the mainstream media, including Fox News and my friend Bill O'Reilly, didn't jump on that story as fast as others did.
I'm going to have to get on the timeline because I don't have it off the top of my head.
I'm telling you,
when we first heard about Trayvon Martin, we got on it. So I don't know what the timeline was. But here we have a police department that you saw check the bias crime, and they said no, it's not. That's a little. They have a 911 tape they could have given us today. They didn't give it to us. Sure. All right, you got to give it up, guys. Come on, we're not accusing the police department of anything here. I'm not. I don't know what happened, okay? You got to give up the 911 tape. All right, and we have a newspaper that is saying, well, we don't cover assaults. Come on, you got two people.
I'm just saying, acknowledge to me on national television, number one, that the mainstream media did take a while.
I can't acknowledge that because I don't know the timeline. When I first heard about it, I got on it.
This is the no spin zone.
That's right. As soon as I got on it, I heard about it, I got on it.
I'm talking about the national media across the board. It took them a while to cover the story, number one.
Maybe that's true.
And number two, back to children like Trayvon Martin, where our babies are concerned, it's the white babies in this country who end up on the milk cartons. It's the white babies that these networks want to profile all the time. The blonde, the blue hair, the blonde and the blue eyes. And I'm not opposed to, I think all life is precious.
White crime is covered. You have a point. White crime, and especially local
black babies, brown babies, they don't get the respect.
Black crime isn't covered as much. And that might be one of the Virginian pilot thing. All right, now you have written a very interesting book about poverty, all right? This crime happened in front of a housing project where poor people live.
Absolutely.
Okay. So are poor people angry? Are they feel entitled to lash out? Do you see that happening? And I'm not talking color here. Poor people in general in America, are they angry? Do they feel entitled to lash out in a violent way?
I don't think anybody's entitled to lash out in a violent way.
But do they feel that way?
I can't speak for all of Black America, and I can't speak for all of brown America or all of white America.
In your research?
My research suggests to me that there has always been a link between poverty and crime. And that's why Dr. West and I have written this book, because our very democracy is threatened by poverty. We argue in this book that poverty is a matter of national security. We argue in the book that poverty isn't color-coded. When 1 out of 2 Americans is either in or near poverty, that's a societal crisis, Bill. We're getting dangerously close to cementing a permanent American catastrophe. And when people feel put upon because they don't have opportunities to express their dignity by doing work, that's not a black or brown thing. That's an American problem.
What in your book is the primary reason for the poverty?
A lack of opportunity.
Which comes out of where?
A lack of opportunity and corporate greed and political indifference and politicians on the left and the right not making poverty a priority, a bipartisan consensus that poverty doesn't matter. A lot of reasons.
All right. I want to have you back with Brother West, right? Brother West?
He would be here tonight, but for that trial for the stop and frisk policy here in New York. He's on trial for that.
All right, we'll talk more about poverty. We appreciate you coming in, Travis.
I'm glad to be on, Bill.
Okay, good to see you.
Appreciate you.